Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is now just 17 days away from its official release by Disney, Lucasfilm, J.J. Abrams, and creator George Lucas. That is all set and ready to end the Skywalker saga and the sequel trilogy itself. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Episode 9 that a lot of fans are very excited and worried about, of course, is exactly how J.J. Abrams is going to utilize the entire ending of the film, and exactly how he's going to wrap up the entire Skywalker saga that started back in 1977 with Star Wars A New Hope. Now, this movie really is very important to Disney and Lucasfilm, but not just to them as companies, but also to us, the Star Wars community, because this really is a big deal. This is going to be a historical event that's going to really determine exactly how the fans view the sequel trilogy in its entirety, and exactly how much of an effect it's going to have on the prequels and the originals, since this movie really is going to have a dramatic impact on all past 8 Star Wars films that come before this one, and the ones that are part of the Skywalker saga. Now, one thing that is very intriguing that really will divide fans has all to do with the final battle of the Rise of Skywalker. Now, specifically, what's really intriguing about this is that shot descriptions consisting of a sequence where it's explained that both Rey, Ben Solo, and Palpatine are said to be inside of his throne room, where it's explained that at one point in time, Ben Solo tries to protect Rey after Palpatine had drained the energy from both Ben Solo and Rey to rejuvenate himself into a more youthful and powerful state. Now, it's explained that Rey is said to be unconscious at the time after Ben Solo fights Palpatine with Leia's lightsaber by blocking the lightning, where Ben Solo is said to be regaining consciousness, where he begins to crawl over to an unconscious Rey and begins to use his life force as an energy source for Rey. This is said to be a pure, selfless act on Ben Solo's part to save Rey and to give her a fighting chance, and that Ben knows that by doing this, he won't stand a chance against Palpatine. Once Ben Solo gives Rey some of his energy, the Force ghosts of the past begin to help Ben Solo as well. Where Ben stands up, where Palpatine realizes what's going on, where Ben locks eyes with Palpatine, which eventually leads to a segment in which Palpatine uses Force lightning against Ben Solo and throws him into a bottomless pit into the abyss. After Ben Solo's death, Rey is still getting up as she begins to hear the Force Ghost voice of Anakin Skywalker, giving her some encouraging words to stand up and fight, followed by other Force Ghost voices of the past, such as Luke, Leia, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, and even Ahsoka Tano and Ezra Bridger, where it said that this is where the Force Ghosts finish what Ben Solo started, by using energy to give Rey a fighting chance against Sidious. The Force Ghosts are said to realize what Ben Solo did to protect Rey, and that this allows Rey to stand up to face her grandfather Darth Sidious once more. Sidious begins to realize that she has become a threat and stops his Force Storm technique against the Resistance above in space, where Palpatine stops shocking the Resistance fleet and redirects his Sith lightning at Rey. Now, at first, it's said that Rey blocks it with Anakin and Leia's lightsabers in a crossed position where she is able to block it enough to the point where she is able to block it from hitting her. However, she is slowly moving backward from the force of the lightning and getting closer to the bottomless pit. As Rey nears the bottomless pit, all seems lost for Rey as she is about to fall into the abyss, where she is able to hear the voices of the Force Ghosts also encouraging her to believe in herself, where she begins to walk forward slowly, regaining strength, moving the lightning closer and closer to Palpatine, to where he eventually begins to slowly disintegrate by his own power into thin air, where he is nowhere to be found and is actually said to be vanished into thin air, where Rey has actually brought the end of the Sith once and for all. Palpatine's throne room begins to crumble and collapse, where Rey sprints her way out of there immediately. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, in case you guys did not know, the final battle of the Rise of Skywalker is really going to be quite an experience for fans, because this is going to be the moment in the film that is going to really divide the fans. There are certain decisions here made by Disney and Lucasfilm, obviously, that's going to sit well with fans or really have, a big impact on fans negatively speaking. One of the problems is that I think a lot of fans are going to have with this movie, in particular the ending battle, has all to do with the fact that Rey is going to become the chosen one and destroying the Sith once and for all. Meanwhile, it really should have been Ben Solo and or, slash Kylo Ren, whatever have you, to destroy Palpatine. Now, yes, I get it. Ben Solo is going to help Rey, as it turns out, by lending her an element of his life force to her to have her regain consciousness, followed by the Force Ghost of the past giving her also energy from the netherworld of the Force. So Ben Solo, in a way, indirectly, yes, was involved in the final defeat of Palpatine, but I really do believe that it should have been Ben Solo to be the one to destroy Sidious in this position where maybe he could have defeated Palpatine and then have fallen to the abyss. I think that would have been a better scenario. Instead, in this particular scene, it said that after Ben Solo gives Rey his life force, he gets up knowing that there's no chance in the world that he can go up against Sidious. Sidious shoots lightning at him and he's basically thrown into the abyss, never to be seen again, and that's Ben Solo's death. Now, I think that Ben Solo's death being so quick like that, like the blink of an eye, I think is going to be one of the moments in the movie that's going to divide fans. A lot of fans may have wanted a better death for Ben Solo, kind of similar to Darth Vader's, where he's hanging on for a couple of minutes, you know, talking to Luke, and they could have done something like that with Ben Solo, you know, having a couple of minutes hanging on and talking to Rey, giving, you know, her his final words. I would have loved that, personally speaking. So the other thing that I actually want to tap into here is that, of course, Ben Solo's selfless act, alright? So this sacrifice of his is actually said to initiate the Force Ghosts of the past to tune in to help Ben Solo. Now, it really does make you wonder, why wouldn't the Force Ghosts have helped Ben Solo from the very start? Because he, too, was also drained of his energy from the Force Conduit technique by Palpatine. It really does make you wonder, why didn't they help Ben Solo? Could it be that he still had some dark side, you know, energy within him before he made that selfless act, you know, for Rey? That's a possibility. But other than that, it could just be, you know, poor writing on J.J. Abrams' part. You know, I just feel that if the Force Ghosts intervened and they were able to help Rey, why couldn't they help Ben Solo to essentially become, you know, fully rejuvenated or have all the energy that he needs to fight Palpatine once and for all, right? So, with that being said here, this particular ending scene is said to also involve where Rey shoots the Force lightning back at Palpatine. So essentially, Palpatine's death is basically the Mace Windu treatment in reverse. Essentially, you have the Force lightning being blocked and Rey is able to deflect it back at Palpatine in full force, where she is walking closer and closer to Palpatine, where he is unable to move. So that's exactly how he dies. He gets disintegrated into pieces, very much like Lord Voldemort in the Harry Potter series in the Deathly Hallows Part 2, and I think that a lot of fans may either dislike that decision or like that decision. I myself, I feel that Palpatine's death could have been way better. I feel that him just dying by his own power is a little weak in my opinion, but we'll have to wait and see exactly, you know, how it's going to be executed on the big screen and exactly how it's going to flow, you know, when it comes to the visuals and how it's going to look, you know, actually in motion. That's a big, you know, important piece there, is exactly what it's going to look like on film as well, right? So, like I say, I mean, the final battle of this movie between Ben Solo, Palpatine, and of course Rey, it's going to be a moment that without a doubt is going to divide fans because of certain decisions that they made, you know, for these particular characters, such as the death of Palpatine, the death of Ben Solo, the Force Ghosts being disembodied voices instead of them actually being, you know, there and appearing in actual physical form. I think that there are missed opportunities here. I think the fact that they had shot alternate scenes that actually sound far better in design than this one. I feel like that Disney and Lucasfilm don't necessarily really know exactly, you know, what to really do with the ending sequence, so they just kind of winged it, you know, they just kind of just said, let's just do whatever. So that's what we got. So, again, like I say, I mean, parts of this, I could see why people would like it, but I just do disagree with a lot of decisions by Disney and Lucasfilm and what they made for the final battle in Episode 9. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with me on that, but that's just my take on things, and that's my 2 cents. So, with that being said, this final battle, it's also said to destroy the world, or should I say destroy the base on the world of Exegol that belongs to Palpatine, as Rey sprints out of there and hops into Luke Skywalker's X-Wing and escapes. So anyways guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
nights alone.